All right, so today we're really going to zero in on something very specific. Usually we kind of spread things out, but today we're doing a deep dive on just Palm Sunday.
It's a big one, though, right?
Huge. And to help us unpack all of its layers, we've got some incredible sources to lean on. We'll be looking at Holy Week Contemplations by Pope Shenouda, always so insightful.
All classic.
Absolutely. And we're also bringing in Holy Week and Me by Father Bishoy Kamel. I mean, who doesn't love Father Bishoy?
Always such a beautiful way of making these deep truths so relatable, right?
Yeah, exactly. So let's actually try to visualize Palm Sunday for a second. Jesus arrives in Jerusalem. Our sources describe this just incredible scene, crowds of people everywhere, palm branches waving, and everyone shouting, Hosanna to the Son of David. It's just electric.
I mean, can you imagine being there?
Oh, I've been a fly on the wall. And, the Palm Sunday commentary really sums it up beautifully when it says, Behold, your king comes with his gift in hand, as a shepherd who tends his sheep, and with his hands he gathers his sheep.
Yeah, that image of the shepherd is so powerful.
It is. There's this real sense of gentle authority, isn't
For
it?
sure. And I think what's so striking is that right off the bat, Jesus is being recognized as king. I mean, one of the texts even poses this really thought-provoking question. He who sits on the cherubim, rode on a donkey, arrived at Jerusalem, what great humbleness this is.
It is. And the fact that he chooses to ride a donkey, of all
Yeah.
things, it's like it sets the tone for everything that's about to unfold.
Exactly. It's not your typical image of a king, is it?
Not at all. And as we get deeper into this, we have to remember that Palm Sunday isn't just one thing. It's joyous. It's a celebration. People are genuinely welcoming Jesus into Jerusalem.
Right, it's like a parade.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, it's the start of Holy Week. It's the beginning of his path towards the cross. So it's like this incredible mix of joy and anticipation. You can feel the undercurrent of something much bigger about to happen.
Like a turning point.
Yes, it's this hinge moment, a real before and after.
That's a good way to put it.
So, okay, let's talk about that donkey for a minute. Because our sources really emphasize the symbolism there. They even point to a specific prophecy. Say unto the daughter of Zion, Behold, your king approaches riding on a donkey.
It was meant to be.
Totally intentional. The commentary even points out that this was planned.
Yeah.
It wasn't random. It was deliberate. A way of showing his authority, but in this really unexpected way. I mean, most kings would choose a war horse, right?
So a force.
Yeah, exactly. But Jesus chooses humility. It's pretty powerful when you think about it.
It totally subverts your expectations.
For sure. And speaking of powerful, the people's reaction is just, I mean, you can just picture it. They're spreading their cloaks on the ground in front of him like a royal carpet, and the children are singing praises. There's this quote that captures it so well. The children of the Hebrews had spread out their garments before him, praising him with unceasing lips, saying, The glory of God was blessed in Zion, his holy mountain. And the people were praising him, saying, Hosanna to the Son of David. Blessed is the Lord Jesus Christ who came to save us.
Wow. It gives me chills just hearing that.
Yeah, it's just this overwhelming wave of adoration.
And I think it's interesting, too, how in the liturgy, in the Adam Sali for the third canticle, it says, the begotten of the Father who was incarnate, of the daughter of Joachim the Virgin. It's like right there. They're proclaiming exactly who Jesus is, the Son of God made man.
Right. And the liturgy even brings in readings from all four Gospels for Palm Sunday.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool because each one has a slightly different focus.
I never really noticed that.
Yeah, Matthew really highlights the Old Testament prophecies about the Messiah and King. It's all about connecting Jesus to that lineage.
It makes sense, right? It's grounding this event in that whole history.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, but now let's talk about what the saints have to say about all of this. Because this is where things get really interesting. I mean, it's one thing to understand the story, but then to hear these incredible spiritual giants reflect on it.
It brings a whole new depth.
It does. And Pope Shenouda, in Holy Week Contemplations, he says something that really struck me. He says, Some believe that the greatest picture of Jesus as king is when he entered Jerusalem, and the crowds surround him with palm branches, crying out, Hosanna, blessed is he, the Son of David. But in my opinion, the greatest picture is Christ the King on the cross.
Wow. That's really making you think, isn't it?
It is, because you would think, right, Palm Sunday, the crowds, the celebration, that's the ultimate image of a king. But he's saying, no, it's the cross.
It challenges how we see power.
Totally. So what do you think he means by that?
Well, I think it's about recognizing that true kingship, at least as Jesus shows us, isn't about outward displays of power. It's about love. It's about sacrifice. And ultimately, that's what the cross represents, right?
And Father Bishoy Kamel, in Holy Week in Me, he focuses on those Hosanna cries. He says, recall the jubilant cries of Hosanna that echoed through the streets on Palm Sunday. Christ must reign supreme in our hearts and minds to establish his holy kingdom within us.
I love that. It's like he's saying it's not enough to just remember the story. We have to let those hosannas echo in our own lives.
Exactly. Make them real now. And one thing that keeps coming up is this theme of humility, right? Jesus riding a donkey. That great humbleness, as our commentary calls it. What do the saints have to say about that?
Well, they saw it as intentional, like a deliberate choice to reject all the worldly trappings of power. It's like Jesus was saying, my kingdom isn't built on those things. It's built on service, on compassion. And that's radical,
So,
especially for a king.
yeah, it definitely turns everything upside down. So even though Palm Sunday is this joyful entry, there's this shadow hanging over it. We know what's coming, the suffering. And it wasn't a victory parade in the way the world sees it, was it?
Nope. And the commentaries are clear about that. The triumphal entry was a deliberate step towards the sacrifice on the cross. Like, Jesus knew what he was walking into. And the crowds, maybe they had some sense of it, but I don't think they fully grasped what was about to happen. It's kind of heartbreaking when you think about it.
Yeah. Their hosannas take on a whole new meaning. So when we think about the overall message of Palm Sunday, it's definitely not just a celebration. There's something much deeper going on.
Right. Oh, yeah. The concluding canon for Palm Sunday even says, "Rejoice, for the King is coming." But then it immediately says, "Awaken our minds to the magnitude and significance of the next day." It's reminding us that Palm Sunday leads directly into the Passion. The joy is real, but so is the suffering that's about to come.
So it's like that hosanna, that cry of welcome. It's not the end of the story. It's actually just the beginning of the most important part.
Exactly. It's pointing towards the ultimate victory, which will be won through suffering and death, and ultimately resurrection. But that comes later. Palm Sunday is just the start of that journey.
So to wrap it all up, Palm Sunday is this incredibly powerful moment where Christ's kingship is proclaimed. But it's a kingship defined by humility, by service, and by this willingness to embrace suffering out of love. It's a day full of joy, yeah, but it's a joy that's intertwined with the knowledge of what's to come, the sacrifice.
Beautifully said. It's a lot to take in.
It is. And it leaves us with a lot to think about. So as we finish up, I'll leave you with a question. How does this image of a king riding a donkey instead of a war horse, welcomed by these cries of praise that will soon turn into calls for crucifixion, how does that change the way you think about power, about glory, and about true leadership? And how does the joy of Palm Sunday prepare us, not just as a memory, but in our own hearts, to the seriousness of Holy Week? It's worth reflecting on that connection between Christ entering Jerusalem and his ultimate act of love on the cross. Thanks for joining us today for this deep dive.